Hey everyone, Chris Gogolin here, doing my weekly edition of my GEMP Game review series. I think we're up to episode 15 now, maybe 16. I don't know, losing count, uh, which is a good thing. We'll do things a little differently this week. Again, I know we mixed it up a little bit last week. We'll do some housekeeping stuff first, talk about the Set 9 PDF that just came out, and then we're going to do some Sealed Deck. We're going to review a Sealed Deck game, showcase one of the alternate formats on GEMP. Certainly something that a lot of the newer returning players should certainly take advantage of. Limited card pool is always easier to work with, at least when you're just figuring out the mechanics. How does it work? How do the actions and sequences work? What happens in what phases, the turns, all that kind of stuff. I think the sealed deck games are are a little easier to figure some of that stuff out with. But if we take a look at the July leaderboard for the OCS, yeah, Jebediah is out to a really great lead, 10 and 1. Pretty safe to say he's going to have one of the top spots. But after that, it's just a bloody mess. Um, these guys all have multiple losses. Even Chris Kelly's at 4 and 1. That's not bad. He's got a good shot at finally qualifying this month. He's been close a couple of times and come up short. These guys are 3 and 4, 3 and 3. Crypto's 3 and 0. If he can get his games in again, he could certainly make a run, just like he did last month. He came up just a little short. And then we've got a whole bunch of people down here, all like 2 and 2, 2 and 1, 1 and 2. Still a lot of games left to be played, given that it's already, well, it's the 9th. It's almost a third of the way through the month, and nobody's finished all their games yet. That's because Tom's not playing this month. I think is really what it comes down to. But if you look around here, you can see that there are some other leagues available. Just regular fun leagues. These just cost 5 gold to play. You get 5 gold a week for just being a member of GEMP, have an account. It's like your weekly allowance. You just don't get gold your first week. That was a feature that was put in specifically to help out with sealed decks, because people would just create 20 fake accounts, sign up for the sealed deck league, and then just keep opening packs until they found the one account that got the right cards or good cards, and then it would completely flood the standings. You'd have 20 accounts registered for the event, but only per player. So it'd look like there's 100 people playing this tournament. No, there's 9 people playing in this tournament. They had just all made 20 accounts trying to get the god packs, the right combination of stuff, so they could dominate and win all the games. Now that that's been fixed, I mean, you'll still get plenty of people who will sign up, open their packs, and never actually play a game, or they'll play a game or two and realize, this isn't much fun, or these cards are really not that great compared to what some of the other people got in their packs. When you've got a Rebel Trooper or a Stormtrooper, at a site, because that's the only real card you've got, or like an Arcona or something, but no site to react away to. I mean, that's not a good example. Yeah, I don't know. You got like 2 Jawas, we'll say, and your opponent's got like Obi-Wan and his lightsaber. You're like, those were the rares you pulled out of your 4 packs? Damn. Um, so yeah, especially when you're only playing 40 card decks. But there are lots of people here. Obviously, these guys all played 20 games. It's 10 games a week. So this is Premier and A New Hope. Then there's an Endor, Death Star 2-1. That one you have to wait till the tournament. There's a glitch somewhere in GEMP. Troy couldn't quite take the time to research where it came from. If you signed up before the event starts, so the event starts here July 11th. This one's coming up in 2 days. So if you signed up before this event to start, like these 2 people did and didn't listen, there's a pretty good chance that when the event actually starts, you won't get your packs. I don't know why that happens. It's only with the Endor Death Star 2 League for some reason. Some type of minor little glitch in there somewhere. So maybe now that the Players Committee is taking over it, they can go in and figure out where that glitch is eventually. It's low-hanging fruit. It's kind of low on the priority list too, though, so I wouldn't expect that to be resolved anytime too soon. But yeah, this is the one that's coming up next. You get the Death Star 2 starter deck, I think, and like some Endor packs. So that should be pretty interesting. Uh, yeah, and then the third one is Jabba's Palace Sealed. So it's the Jabba's Palace Sealed deck, and some packs of Jabba's Palace, I believe, come with that. Um, Sandwhirl is tends to be kind of a pretty brutal card in that format. Lando excluding people is kind of rough. Effant Mon kind of restricts some characters. So there's some interesting cards on both sides of the fence for that one. Um, but of course, VSET 9 has just been released. If you go to the home page, so here's the info on the spoiler list. But if you just go to Virtual Slips and Files, and then right there, Set 9, you can download the updated PDF. There were a few minor changes between the spoiler list and the PDF version, so obviously don't go by off the spoiler list anymore because that's outdated information. Just download Set 9. It's like 7 pages, 8 pages. Print out the cards, start cutting them up, and get ready to play with a lot of that new stuff. They are legal for live tournaments as of July 13th, which is this upcoming weekend. There's a couple of tournaments this weekend, so hopefully we'll get our first look at some of these new cards in action. I think Minnesota's doing their states and regionals this weekend, so all these cards will be legal. So I'm curious to see exactly what some of those guys come up with, because deck lists are required for some of those events. So you can download that right there. And then of course we've got U.S. Nationals coming up in just over, actually just under 3 weeks now, on the 27th. All right, so we took care of all that stuff. So let's jump into a game here. So one of the things with sealed deck rules, you get this special rule: once per game may download a unique battleground not already on the table. That applies to all sealed deck leagues on GEMP currently. It's excuse me. It's a good feature to help speed the game along a little bit. Otherwise, the first 1 or 2 turns you just activate, draw, looking for locations. If you can each get a unique battleground out of your deck, that gives both players some activation because they're battleground sites, not 2-0 sites. So there's probably 2 1s, so at least both players are getting some icons. So that helps speed the game up a little bit. So Roman 777, who plays a lot of sealed deck leagues, submitted this game to us. So we're gonna go ahead and take a peek. All right, so he's light side. He's got Yavin 4, and his opponent. This is the Premier New Hope League. It looks like his opponent started the Death Star Docking Bay 327 control room. Would be brutal if he somehow managed to get a Rebel of ability greater than 2 there. Force rating +2 in a sealed deck game with a 40 card deck size. That would be pretty rough. But sealed deck is a completely different animal than most other formats. With at least the Premier New Hope League, in addition to packs of Premier and a couple of New Hope packs, you also get the OTSD sealed package, which contains a couple of locations and a couple of characters and ships. You also get the Jedi pack as well. So you get the Jedi pack. Darkside gets Aradu and Tarkin and Mahdi. Lightside gets this crappy Han and Leia. None of them have any game text. They all have terrible deploy forfeit ratios, 4-3. But they are rebels that are power 2 ability 2. Han's an alien who's power 2 ability 2. Really, it's just there to give you the persona, to try and minimize the number of dead cards. When you open your Premier packs or whatever, and you're like, oh look, I got Han's heavy blaster. It's like, great. What am I going to do with that? It costs a lot to put on another warrior and use somebody who's not Han, or Leia sporting blaster or something like that. So you've got some generic personas of some of the more recognizable characters to at least use for that aspect. I mean, maybe you might draw some interrupts or something like that too, like you might get like a Don't Get Cocky or something, and then if you're lucky enough to get Luke, you're like, well, I've got Luke and Han. Okay, cool. I can match that up. He's a pilot. If you happen to get the Falcon would be immune to attrition less than 5. Doesn't draw Destiny because he's only ability 2. Doesn't have any game text. But, at least you can trigger some of the other effects. Both sides have a fair amount of, light side I feel like has a little bit better time in space they've got uh, they got the Red Squadron X-wing and the Gold Squadron X-wing. Both are ability 2 permanent pilot ships. Uh, Darkseid gets the ties, the Black Squadron tie and the Obsidian Squadron tie. They also get the Dreadnought, which is great for additional power and to move those things around. But the light side certainly has the advantage because they don't need to move. They can move further, farther, further, farther, farther, um, because they've got better hyperspeed and they don't need something else to carry them around. So that's certainly an advantage for there. So we're going to see him go ahead. He's going to make a bold play. He's going to put the X-Wing down because it deploys -2 to Yavin. Yavin was the starting location. So get that out. And then I think he was going to jump out to Kessel here to try and get a better drain in. And his opponent's going to hit him with one of the other tech cards from the Jedi pack for Darkseid, Gravity Shadow. It's a card we still see played in the current environment from time to time. So he's going to draw Destiny. It's kind of a mixed bag with sealed deck. You never know really what's in there. Usually you're using weaker characters, and weaker characters tend to have better Destiny numbers. So he's going to draw against the immunity there. Oh, he's got Vader's Custom Tie. That's a pretty good card. But it's also a 2. And when you draw the exact number of the permanent pilot, you blow up the whole ship. So these are the kinds of little things you see a lot in sealed deck games. Techterror is just going to activate and draw. He's getting 7 force a turn, which is pretty good from getting Kessel out. Light side's only getting 5. He's going to use his location pull. He gets the Cantina. Okay. 5 force, though. Not much you can do about that. I think he's just going to have to draw. Alright, see, that's usually what you end up with is, something like this kind of Gold Squadron Y-Wing, which can hold a pilot or passenger. It's got permanent pilot ability too, so you slap a guy like Pops here in the back seat. Now it's 6 power. It gets a battle destiny. He forfeits to cover 4, so you may not have to lose the whole ship. So you've got options. You usually have to combo some stuff together. There's one of the ties for Darkseid, going to a good system. Kashyyyk is a very good system in this format because it's a drain +1. The Obsidian Squadron tie doesn't add a lot of power because it's not at a tie sector, but you do still get, it's 3 power for 4. It's not terrible. And sometimes you usually get like a random TIE fighter or something like that. Sometimes you get one of the unique ones that needs a pilot, and it's going to be Chow Beacon, who comes in the OTSD package for Darkseid. Lightside gets the other guy, Arleal Shus, who kind of has similar stats. They both let you take non-unique aliens. They both let your aliens deploy -1 to same or adjacent Tatooine sites. And you'll have lots of Tatooine sites from your Premier and A New Hope packs. No alien in there to pull. Yeah, I wish I could have paused that. So that's a good drain 2 set up in space. And does get a battle destiny. He's got 5 ability there. That's really what you're trying to do as much as you can. It's just, similar to real live games. You're trying to combo up some battle destinies. Combo, get the right number of ability together you can. We're going to see Pops in red 1. Come down. Now, some of you may be asking, why did he deploy them like this? Oh, we're going to get Talon rolled. That would be ugly. But he's got the Corellian Slip, which would be a pretty big blowout card. There comes the Talon roll. Alright, before we do that, let's go back to my other point. Somebody might be asking, why did he deploy them like this? Obviously, he wants all these guys together. This ship deploys -2 at Yavin 4, so you see he needed all his force. So we can deploy it here for 2 instead of 4, saving himself 2 force. It costs 1 to move over, so he saves 1. The one he's got left would be that 1 force to move over, so he's able to squeeze out and out of the ship by deploying things a little differently. He wasn't going to really battle this turn anyway with this combination of stuff, so it kind of maximizes the number of ships he can get out. Although His opponent jumped the gun a little bit with the Talon roll. I would not have played the Talon roll this early in the deploy phase. I would have waited to see, like, if he battled me, I would have Talon rolled in the battle, take this ship out, take his power down. He's not getting a battle destiny here, so I wouldn't expect him to do anything like that. Um, but he's going to go ahead and he's going to Talon roll now. And Talon roll, we'll take a look at. There's another one of those tech cards. Now, there are Light Side does have a canceller. They get It's a Hit. It comes in the sealed deck package. So they do have the canceller for Talon Roll. It is a very powerful card in the sealed deck format. You're going to target 2 starfighters. Move this over. So we got 2 starfighters. Those 2. Present at same system. Each player draws Destiny. Opponent totals Destiny and their power of the ship. You total Destiny, power, and maneuver. So he played the dark maneuvers earlier, which kind of tipped his hand that it was coming. So this ship here is power 3 and maneuver 3 normally, so it's a 6. 6 is pretty good for this combination here. But he did the dark maneuvers, which adds 2 and 1, so actually he's up to 9 now. And he'd be going 9 to, this is only 5. He adds 2 to power, so it'd be 9 to 5, so he'd be very likely to win this situation. However, this tech, a New Hope card, Corellian Slip, completely flips the table because in addition, we were down 9 to 5. Now we're going to also add maneuver and ability of the pilot. X-Wings are maneuver 4, Pops is ability 2, so now we're adding 6 more onto that total. If it were gold 5, he would add an additional maneuver, but it's not. So now this went from being 9 to 5 to being 11 to 9. So that's certainly a big, huge swing. Corellian Slip is a great draw for light side in sealed deck play. Not everybody gets Talon Roll, for dark side, but it is a card you should at least anticipate seeing. At least if you're going to play, 5-10 games, you're going to see it a few times. That was terrible. Even with the Corellian Slip, he draws a 0. 14 to 11, ship's gone. And now you got to ask yourself, which way is he going to move? He's going to have to move the Corvette away. So interesting there. If he had waited to do it before he did it the way he did, I think, to get the force drain through. He takes out the ship, forces him to move the Corvette away so he can drain for 2. Personally, I would have rather let him move the Gold Squadron Y-Wing over, then Talon roll the ship with Pops on it. Now these 2 guys are stuck in front of him. It's 9 power to 6 power, but he's not getting a battle destiny here with these 2 ships. So you battle, maybe you deploy something else. You got 10 cards in hand and you're activating 11. Maybe you get to deploy some more stuff, really beat these 2 ships up, clear them out completely, be done with it, and own this system completely. He's only got 3 cards in hand, so I would have preferred to see him go for the beatdown. He had a Dreadnought in hand too. That's even crazier. He could have dropped that Dreadnought and those guys there, and he would have had like 15, 16, 17. It would have been like 18 to 9 plus a Destiny. You assume he draws a 3. It's like 22 to 9. Those ships only forfeit for 11, so they're going to die plus 3 more. Techterror, just having all the cards today. So they would have taken 3 overflow. He would have cleared those ships. We've already seen him clear the Red Squadron X-Wing. He's already cleared. He would have already have cleared, Pops and Red 1. Light side would be just about out of ships at that point, you'd have to imagine. And then he could, spread out and take 2 systems. Could have moved like left Child Beacon and this guy here, taken the Dreadnought and this tie, moved him over to Yavin. He'd have 2 solid drain of 2 systems, and light side would have like no ships left. So yeah, so that's why I was not a fan of that. Another card you happen to see sometimes every once in a while is Gravel Storm. Only works at a couple specific sites: Dune Sea, Junlin Wastes, Baker's Canyon, Lars Farm, Moss Isley. Target character present at that site, draw a destiny. If it's greater than ability, target's lost. Over here, there's also the wonderful little bonus text, which you can't quite see right in here. It says this card rocks. Uh, the cipher snuck a few little Easter eggs like that onto some of the early edition of cards. Uh, I always thought that was kind of funny because you've got all these rocks being hurled right at stuff. Growl, storm, discard rocks. They're so witty. But that's gonna miss. That's only a 2. Um, he's gonna move over to Aradu now that Darkseid has committed a lot of ships to the table, and they're at the high end of the spectrum here. This is this thing can only move parsecs, hyperspeed 3. These things can't move at all. Um, So this can't even get the Yavin to reach. So Roman's taking advantage of this, and he's spreading his stuff out the other way to maximize his drains. Radu is a drain +1 system for light side. So this would be a drain at 2, 1, and then 1 here. And the Dune Sea requires dark side to have 6 ability to draw destiny. Same thing with Kessel. Kessel requires light side to have 6 ability to draw destiny. And Sealed, that can be kind of hard to cobble that together. So that's certainly a advantage. He's going to lose a couple of cards here off the top. See a Blue Milk, another Corvette. So he had a pretty good draw. He had 2 Corvettes. Those are both uncommon ones, I believe. 2 Old Bens as well. We see the Old Ben in hand. That'll certainly help. We're going to get a Rhodian. We're going to get a Mosep. We're going to get a Dan's Born. I mean, look at this. He's got to put 3 characters down to get 4 ability, which doesn't even get him a Battle Destiny at that site. He'll outpower Leia 5-2. He'll lose Leia, and then he'll play Old Ben here, which is a good card from Premier for this type of thing. Old Ben just brings dude back. Character was just 4 from the Tatooine site. Obi-Wan steps in, revives, which basically redeploys from Lost Pile that character back to the same site. So now, he's going to move this ship away from Kessel. So he's going to reconsolidate his forces back here. And now he's going to need to pick up these ships, and now he's going to start chasing. But because Darkseid has such limited movement with their starships, he's never really going to catch up to him. I mean, this thing's going to move over to here because it can't go all the way to Aradu because Aradu's at Parsec 1. So all he can do is move to Yavin. When he moves to Yavin, the Gold Squadron Y-Wing is going to move out to Kessel. So he's never going to catch up. So this is where that earlier thing I was talking about, that earlier play of not just overwhelming these ships and beating the crap out of them at Kashyyyk, might come back to hurt him a little bit and slow this game down. So now he gets drained for 2 and 1. We see Scanning Crew. That's another one of those annoying cards. He's going to drop Han. Light side only needs 4 ability to draw Destiny there, so they can go ahead and battle. Unlike standard decks, there's no. Oh boy, hang on a second. There's no defensive shields. There's no battle order making you pay 3 to drain if you don't have a site or a system. There's no coward or anything like that. That's going to limit you from draining at non-battlegrounds. This is kind of an old school format. This is the game back at the very beginning, the very first rules. So none of that stuff has come into existence yet. Another terrible card in this kind of format. Man, this guy just got all the stuff. He had Talon Roll, Dark Maneuvers, a little more uncommon stuff. Of course, we saw the Gravity Shadow. He got the Gravel Storm. Now he's got set for Stun. He got a Scanning Crew. It's like a lot of the the bad cards for light side to have to play against. Usually you see 1 or 2 of them. This guy seems like he got just about all of them in his packs, so kudos to him. Set for stun, use 2 force, target a character, draw destiny. It's greater than ability, that card goes back to hand. These guys are only ability 2, so we got a pretty good shot at sending one of them back to hand. And then you draw a 2 destiny character and miss. Light side will get a battle destiny now. They'll win the battle. Dark side will have to forfeit something for 3. It'll probably end up being Dan's Boren. He had he's just going to preemptively move. He draws Wedge. Could be interesting. I don't know if he'll have a situation to use Wedge, but hey, you never know. He's going to top deck 2 cards. Holding on to a couple good cards here. We're Doomed is a pretty powerful card. Darkside did have another ship. They're going to drop some of that stuff. They're going to move away. And then they'll chase him back. But now Darkside's kind of spread out on 3 systems now. But Eject could come into play here, because all you have to do here, draw Destiny. If Destiny greater than 2, deploy on a Starfighter, or remove the permanent pilot. So you could do that here, take the permanent pilot out of this black tie, and then it doesn't occupy that location. But Light Side's going to go ahead. They'll get a drain of 2 and a drain of 1. So they're doing 3 damage, which is pretty solid. It looks like they're actually ahead on life force counts. It's a game like where they've seen all the terrible cards that Darkside has to offer. Darkside just missed on a couple of those draws, and they've over deployed a lot of stuff on the board. So yeah, so Light Side's actually ahead in life force counts. We're going to get Wedge. See if he uses the eject. Yep. Nope, he declines to use it. I think he's just going to move back to Yavin. Yep. Now this Black Squadron tie is stuck there. Because again, ties can't move. He's going to draw a whole bunch of aliens. So this tie is stuck there, can't move away. And this Dreadnought can't move far enough to reach it. It's only hyperspeed 3. So this tie is going to get hurt, because this is 7 power plus a battle destiny. The tie itself only covers the forfeit. It's 4 forfeit will cover the difference in the power, but not the destiny. So that could cause a couple of cards to overflow. They will get the drain for 3 cards here, so we'll see exactly what happens. Yeah, I missed an opportunity, I think, to play. No, we can play it now. You have less than 15. He was exactly at 15, so he couldn't play We're Doomed. We're Doomed is a really strong card for light side, especially in this format, for 2 reasons. Darks, you're not doing a whole lot of damage to begin with, so cutting it in half, even if you're rounding up, because you don't have R2 or 3PO, still fairly strong. Cut some 2s down to 1s. It's also a used 5, so it's an easy card, a fairly easy card to put back in the middle of the game that you can then track around to and draw Battle Destiny. Tracking strong destinies in Sealed really comes in handy. He's going to leave that tie hanging out there again. And he's going to move these guys away again. We'll see him draw a few cards, but maybe he's got a second talent roll or something he's digging for, but even then, I don't know that it would help. But he's going to get drained for 2 and 2. This is definitely going to hurt. He's running fairly low on cards. Uh, there goes Tarkin's Orders. There goes the It's Worse, which helps with one of the other light side cards. It could be worse. It's also a great floating 6. Take a peek. Nobody in there to pull. But it will let him put down some aliens cheaper. So we've got, here's a Jawa. Deploys only on Tatooine for 2 force from each player. Now he's -1 from the other guy, so he'd be 1 force from each player. But doesn't really do a whole lot, but he has ability 2. And then you got this musician guy. For each other musician, he changes what the ability you need to draw Battle Destiny. Increases that. Um, Sometimes these are just the characters you get to play and work with, but that's 4 ability together. 4 ability. I'll just throw this guy down and get a little extra ability. Go ahead and battle in both spots, I would expect. A battle in space, nothing going on there. Draw Destiny. Okay, it's a 2. So Dark Side's going to peel 2 cards. Oh, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I don't know what I was thinking about. I'm trying to work at the same time, so I apologize. I looked over my work screen. So he battled on the ground first. Uh, 3 to 2. He drew a 2 for Destiny. Uh, Cleared the Rhodian. Wasn't really going to get any overflow in this battle because most have forfeits for 5. So there's no threat there. Now we'll get the battle in space that we were talking about earlier. He'll get a draw. It should be at least a 3. I think they're all 3s that he had. So Darkseid's going to have to lose the tie and peel 3 cards in this battle. When you've only got 9 and 3 left in hand, it's 25% of your life force you just lost. Would you look at that? So you get this. You also get the some of the 2-player sealed cards, I guess, as well. I think that's maybe where this site comes from. But you get this terrible version of Vader. Only deploys on Death Star. May move elsewhere. Can't be deployed if 2 unique characters are on table. So the fact that he's got Wedge and Han and Leia means you couldn't deploy him anyway. If in a losing battle, draw Destiny. If Destiny is greater than 4, choke 1 Imperial present. Your choice. So he kills people for losing battles. But yeah, he only deploys on the Death Star, which is terrible. He costs 7, which is even worse. And just to add insult to injury, he's not even a pilot. So the fact that his opponent, Darkseid got Vader's custom tie, which we saw flying around in there, would be like, oh wow, this is awesome. Except this Vader's not even a pilot. You can't even put him in it. But Darkseid's in some trouble here. They'll get some drains in space, which will be helpful. That'll be a 2 and a 1. Keeping the game close. He's going to play We're Doomed now. Doesn't really do a whole lot, but it does put a 5 back where he can almost get to it at this point. He's got 9. He activates 8 a turn. He's got 9 left in reserve deck. So if he activated 8, he'd have 1 card on top and then a 5. So if he battles in 2 locations, the second battle he would draw the 5, which could certainly come in handy. Mosep's going to be stuck somewhere. Mosep's going to get battled. And then if he moves these ships over somewhere like in front of Wedge would get a 5 if he wanted to draw Destiny there. But Techterror is going to go ahead and concede. Not really a whole lot that he can do. Mosep's not going to take much overflow, but he is getting outdrained here. It's going to be 2 and 2 in the Cantina. That's going to cut him down to like 5 cards left, even if he moves over and blocks this one with everything. Light side could just move away. They'll battle. they'll draw the 5. It'll be Mosep and a couple of cards, and then they'll just drain them out in a turn or two. So not really much else that Darkseid could have done this game. Uh, they had the advantage early, and they had a great opportunity early. Just misplayed the Talon roll and waited for the wrong opportunity. Um, if you had done it a little later in the turn, move phase, draw phase, taking them out before anything else had transpired, all of these ships would probably be dead, and then Darkseid would have had complete space control, and then they could have set up and spread out and would have been really maximizing their drains. It may not have had to commit other guys to the ground, and just could have had this be a space drain race. You're draining 2, 2, and 1. You don't have to pay for it, and no battle plan. So, but that's kind of what some of these early sealed deck formats usually look like. Like I said, there's a couple different leagues going on here. This was the Premier A New Hope sealed league. Usually one of the more popular ones. It just seems to be one of the more balanced. Plus it's the one people have more familiarity with a lot of the cards from. So I mean, we had 35, 40 people actually play a game, and a lot more people signed up but didn't. Endor will also get a lot of people. Endor is pretty balanced as well. Because it does get the Death Star 2 starter decks. So those were pre-constructed decks. They've got a good amount of characters, weapons, ships, a couple of guys who have their matching scythe ties, matching Grey Squadron Y-Wings and stuff, Kinkian and those guys. And then Lightside gets Han and Chewie. Darkside gets Tempest 1 and I forget what the other fixed card. Tempest Scout 3, I think, is the other card for Darkseid. They both get Piet and Akbar. So hopefully this helps give you guys a little tutorial on sealed deck play. And thank you guys for watching. I'll be back to doing some regular constructed games next week. Hopefully, we'll start to see some progress. We've already seen the errata to a couple of cards has been released. So the errata that came out with set 9 has already been updated in GEMP. So that might at least start making some things get adjusted. Maybe we'll see map get adjusted a little bit, see how that works out. Maybe we'll start to see some of the new cards added in the next week or two. And then we can see kind of what the new meta is going to look like after set 9. But thank you guys for watching. Be sure and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and have a great day.